I do want to remind our viewers of what's happened this evening. Well, you're watching pictures now of those protests that we've seen in Ramallah, but this is in the aftermath of what's believed to be an Israeli airstrike on the al-Arabi hospital in the central Gaza Strip, where the Palestinian Health Ministry says more than 500 people have been killed, including many who were there sheltering, having been forced to evacuate Gaza City and northern Gaza. Well, let's now speak to Mustafa Barghouti. He's the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative. He joins us now on Skype from Ramallah. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on Al Jazeera. I'll start by asking you for your reaction to this evening's events.
What happened is nothing but a deliberate war crime by the war criminal Netanyahu and his war cabinet. These people have committed another massacre against the Palestinian people, but they attacked the hospital. I mean, this is not only unacceptable, it's so savage. Nobody does that, attacking hospitals, and attacking a hospital where people are taking refuge from the places they were bombarded by Israelis and forced to leave out, trying to find some safe passage in the hospital or near the hospital. This means there is no safe place for Palestinians, but this is more than that. This massacre, in one hit of the Israeli jet fighters, they've killed people, almost the same number of the people who were killed in Sabra and Shatila, in that famous massacre. This is more than the people who were killed maybe in Deir Yassin during the famous massacre in 1948. So we are seeing the same kind of pattern of committing massacres against Palestinians, trying to ethnically cleanse them out of Gaza Strip. This is a genocide that is committed in front of the whole world, and an attack on a hospital, on a place which should be safe. Nobody in wars even attack hospitals in any other country in the world. These war criminals are doing it. And my big question is to the world leaders, who are rushing to Israel one after the other, to the Chancellor of Germany, to the Prime Minister of Britain, to Mr. Biden, the President of the United States. Will they condemn this Israeli massacre? Will they condemn this Israeli behavior? They know they can stop Israel. They know they can restrain Israel. They are the ones who are giving weapons and money and support to these Israeli aggressors. Will they stop Israel from continuing this terrible war and this terrible genocide against the Palestinian people? That is the question. Why did the United States and Britain and France stop the passage of a resolution in the Security Council that calls for ceasefire? Why? Why do they want to support the continuation of this attack? Why did Mr. Blinken, the State Secretary of the United States, why did he attend the war room in Israel? And they said that Biden was planning to attend a meeting of the Israeli war room, or should I say the Israeli war crime room. Is that what they want to do? To be not only complicit, but also participant in these war crimes against the Palestinian people? This is totally unacceptable. This is one massacre that attracted attention, but there are so many others. There are 70 other massacres that Israel committed in Gaza during the last 10 days. Whole families were erased from the civil record. Whole families were killed. Mothers, fathers, children, brothers, sisters. How could this continue? And how can the world accept that? Where is the safe spot now in Gaza? If hospitals are not a safe spot.
I want to ask you more about that. Please. Because you're calling for the need for a safe spot. I spoke to people from the Palestinian Red Crescent earlier who said that their facilities, their ambulances, their very clearly marked ambulances, they believe have been targeted in the last 10 days by the Israelis. I spoke to the spokesperson from UNRWA who described
ambulances, yes.
Indeed, and we also heard from UNRWA about the refugee camp shelters which were hit also tonight. 6 people dead there, also very, very clearly marked. She was very, very specific about that with the UN blue on those roofs. You, sir, are a physician yourself, a medical doctor. Do you believe, and I'm asking for clarity here, do you believe that medical facilities and other civilian infrastructure in Gaza right now are being deliberately targeted by Israel?
Absolutely. I am sure of that. Because so far, 23 ambulances were targeted by Israeli airstrikes. No less than 22 other facilities, clinics, hospitals, and other facilities, health facilities, were targeted by Israeli airstrikes. We lost up till now, and I don't know if this is the final number, but we lost more than 18 of our health workers, including first aid providers, in addition to many others who were injured. And now this attack on the Baptist hospital. I mean, like, people would usually think hospital is a safe place, but the Baptist hospital is the most safe place because it is run by the Baptist church, which is linked to the West and so far. That's what usually people think. If the Baptist hospital is attacked in this vicious manner, then any other facility is eligible for being a target by these Israeli airstrikes. And look what they've done. It wasn't like a small bomb. This was huge, huge, huge bomb and a huge explosion that took the lives of 500 people immediately. And there are hundreds of other people who were injured. You're talking about probably 6,000 or 7,000 people who were sitting around inside the hospital. And you can imagine how many people would be killed. And now if you ask Israelis, they will say that Hamas is using civilians as a shield. This is, I don't want to use bad word now, this is such a big lie. And these Israeli lies should not be accepted. They keep justifying their war crimes. What they are doing is 3 war crimes at the same time. Ethnic cleansing, plus genocide, plus collective punishment of civilian population. These people who were killed today were thirsty because there is no drinking water. They were starving because there is no food coming to Gaza. They did not have the proper facilities for treatment. We are now so worried about the possibility of infections. And I think the World Health Organization already spoke about the possibility of the spread of cholera now in Gaza Strip. Epidemics, infections, 50,000 women are pregnant now in Gaza. 5,500 of them should be delivering now. And many have been doing that in the street because there is no safe place. UNRWA schools were bombarded, hospitals are bombarded, everything is bombarded. That is genocide, and it should stop immediately.
So you've called for international condemnation. What else would you like to see from the international community? And when I ask you that question, I don't mean just the West here. What would you like to see from other countries as this continues?
I think it is absolutely shameful for any Arab government now to have an ambassador, Israeli ambassador, in their country. They should all do what the Colombian president did, which is to kick out any ambassador, Israeli ambassador there, and tell them that we cannot have you when you are committing a genocide. All the acts of normalization between Arab governments and Israel must be eliminated and cancelled. This is the least they can do. But also they should tell the United States that enough is enough. The United States has so many interests in the Arab world. So many countries provide the United States with oil and gas and support and markets and everything. Now the United States is killing us practically by supporting this Israeli war crime. And this should stop. This should not be allowed. Even if we were not Palestinians, whoever we were, humans are being killed. They should look at us as human beings who are massacred now in the hands of these Israeli war criminals who are using American weapons, American money, and as you said in your report, American taxpayers' money. And this should stop. The problem here is that everybody is advocating this genocide in the 21st century. In the case of Ukraine, they send all the money they have and they send all the equipment because they say that Ukraine is fighting occupation, illegal occupation, although I didn't see these massacres there. But here in Palestine, they are supporting the occupier. What does that mean? Is the international law gone? We don't have it anymore? These countries, what the West is doing is totally unacceptable. And I don't demand only condemnation. I demand immediate ceasefire. I demand that the Security Council immediately meets and takes a decision of a complete ceasefire, and the United States and Britain and France should vote for that, rather than giving Israel the carte blanche to continue this massacre against Palestinian people.
Mr. Barghouti, you've been critical there of Arab governments, but there's also been a huge amount of anger being directed at the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas. We saw crowds out on the streets there in Ramallah tonight. I know that there's been statements made from his office over the last few days, which have changed over time. Clearly, a huge amount of pressure is being applied from various different sides. As a Palestinian leader sitting in Ramallah at the moment, can you give me a sense of the relationship between the Palestinian leadership in Ramallah and Hamas right now?
I have no idea, because I'm not in the official leadership. And I don't think that this official leadership has met yet. And I think people are correct in their criticism of the Palestinian Authority. And I think the Palestinian Authority should change course immediately and go in the direction of unity of all Palestinians, including all Palestinian groups, and fighting together, standing together, and to stop these massacres against the Palestinian people. If it is true that the president, Mr. Abbas, will not meet with President Biden, that is a correct step. But it's not enough. We need more than that. We need a much stronger stand with our people in Gaza. We need a much stronger stand to unite all Palestinians now, so that we are all in one front against this terrible aggression, which is much bigger than the catastrophe that happened in 1948. If Israel is allowed to conduct the ethnic cleansing of Gaza Strip, and this is the real Israeli plan, to push all Palestinians out of Gaza to Egypt, to create a situation where people will be so afraid for their lives that will have to flee. If they conduct that, and if they succeed, and I warn against that, their next step will be the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in the West Bank. This is the real Israeli plan. This is the real Netanyahu plan, and Smotrich and Ben Gvir do not hide it. They speak about it all the time. This is the Israeli solution to the fact that the number of Palestinians on historic Palestine is now equal to Israeli Jewish people, if not a little bit more. They want to terminate 1/3 of the Palestinian population by committing these crimes and this genocide, and by pushing Palestinians out of Gaza. This is the Israeli plan, and this is what they are trying to implement.
Well, let me ask you, sir, then, what is your call to the governments and the leadership of both Jordan and Egypt?
I believe they have to immediately take very much, first of all, we appreciate the position of both Egypt and Jordan for refusing completely the idea of forcing Palestinians out of Gaza and declaring that they will not accept refugees from Gaza. This is the right stand. And our people are showing heroic steadfastness by refusing to leave their homes in Gaza and refusing to leave their land. But at the same time, we need more than that. I think it has come to a point with Israel, and there has to be much more pressure now, immediately, on the United States and all Western governments to immediately force Israel to stop this war. This war has to stop immediately. It cannot continue. The continuation of this war will mean massacres more for Palestinians, and will mean more deaths, not only on Palestinian side, but also on Israeli side, although now we are the ones who are paying the price, and we are the ones who are losing our children and our daughters and our mothers and our sisters. It's totally unacceptable. This genocide against civilian population in front of the whole world is taking place by a country that claims to be a democracy, a country that is supported by the world democracies, countries that claim to be civilized and yet allow this terrible thing to happen. That should stop immediately. Not only condemnation, but immediate pressure on Israel to stop this war, to stop this savage behavior against the Palestinian civilian population.
Mustafa Barghouti, the Secretary-General of the Palestinian National Initiative, thank you very much. It's Emily Angwin here, who's now presenting. A big thank you to my previous presenter, Nastasia Tay, who had been on air for 4 hours. I'm now taking over. Appreciate your time, sir.